be part of the problem. You need to sound like a philosopher. You can't. When are we not going to do this and this and this? I tell you, we must do this and this and this. That can only appeal to people with that 30-second attention span mentality. Okay, so no, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm ready to go and vote. It can't appeal to anyone else.
I will make you pay for that.
Better talking points than these effective, snappy, television-sounding talking points. Let me tell you about this like this, because if I do that, it makes you feel bad. So we do this, and we smile like this. Hey, look at now all this. We can't do that, and I'm gonna be hey. To emulate these politicians is to stuff your mind into a little box where you will not be able to effectively argue against these politicians. They'll at least be better than you at this soulless form. You say, we can't gain peace through military intervention. It has not worked. Consider Japan. We nuked them, and then we forbade them to have a military. So they can't have a military-industrial complex. So look where their money goes. And look how great it was for them. You can get some great things through military intervention. The world fears us. The world obeys us. You have to set your criteria. What matters? What does it mean to not gain peace through military intervention? We have peace with Japan, and it came at military intervention. Well, that wasn't nice of us to do. Nagasaki, Hiroshima wasn't nice. Set your criteria. Is it that we should be nice with war? Is it that we should gain peace through war? You can gain peace through war. I know you've heard the same talking points from Ron Paul that I've heard. It doesn't work. You can't gain peace through war. Or you see those popular hippie talking points. Fighting for peace is like fucking for virginity. Haha, it's cute. Meanwhile, people are dying. So you need to think twice before you say something so careless as you can't gain peace through military intervention. Something more philosophical is just peace, fair peace, equitable peace. Can't be gained through war. Something more along those lines. Just to say you can't gain peace through war, it has not worked. Oh, it's worked. Then you say, Ron Paul is the only... These are some of the things you say. See, you gotta be careful. Politicians are famous. The reason why we have so many videos of George Bush saying something so ridiculous and Barack Obama saying, so many politicians, they just say these things. Whoa, why would anyone say that? It's because you get stuck, you're on a roll, you really feel yourself, and then you just say some things, you mix this with that, and it comes out that human beings and fish can coexist peacefully. What? Barack Obama saying, I've been to 57 states in the United States, 2 more to go. And people are like, well, why would he say 57 states? It's because you just get ahead of yourself and you just start saying something. Here are some examples of you just getting ahead of yourself and just saying things that if you thought about it and you were philosophical, you would never say these things because they're terrible. Ron Paul is the only candidate who gives consideration to human life abroad and human life at home. It's a very careless thing to say. The only candidate who gives consideration to human life at home and abroad. Then you say, they're human beings, talking of the people that we're terrorizing abroad. They're human beings.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Where? Okay, got it. They're human beings. They're not some brown people off in desert shambles. They're actual human beings. I know how you meant it. You meant it like people caricature them as this ignoble, not noble thing, but they're not that unnoble thing. They're human beings, but how it came out is they're human beings. They're not some brown people off in desert shambles. They're actual human beings. Meanwhile, a lot of the people we're terrorizing are in fact brown people off in desert shambles. And yet they're still human beings. Again, that's one of those things where politicians, they'll say something very careless, and what do you mean Ron Paul's the only person that considers human life? What do you mean they're not brown people off in shambles? I know all that stuff about how people will say, well, it doesn't matter as much to you because they're just brown people, or see, it's a tangled web you weave when you start to buy into, okay, people will take it serious if I satirize this misconception, I'll satirize this misconception, and then I'll say the opposite of what I mean, Therefore, they'll sarcastically know that I was satirizing. No, no, no. Don't say they're human beings. They're not some brown people off in desert
Our base
shambles.
is under attack.
Don't say things like that.
Select
This is just my
target.
advice. But my advice is really great.
Unit ready.
Military force is not going to change the world for the better. Again, World War II changed the world for the better. The better for who? You should really mention these things. Because, for example, World War II solidified war as a moral option. And so now, anytime we preface the march to war, we can say, what would have happened if we didn't stop Hitler? And people, well, we can't argue with that, or else we hate Jews. What would have happened? Well, we wouldn't have had, we can do it. Every woman come out of their homes. No one needs to be a mother. You should work in a factory. All you men fight and die for a bad cause.
Unit lost.
Something good came, it changed the world for the better, for the military-industrial complex.
Unit lost.
And for those, so what I have written here is actually, it solidified war as a moral option, which changed the world for the better, for those who want to use war under the cloak of war as a moral option.
Construction
World War II did that.
Unit
To
lost.
be more specific,
Reinforcements
who can
ready.
war not change the world better for?
Unit lost.
Meaning that war can change the world for the better, depending on who's on the winning side. Or you can transcend above it, philosophically, ethically.
Construction complete. Structure abandoned.
You say, bring the troops home, end the wars, end the occupations. You know, that political stuff. And meanwhile, you're speaking from a fantasy. The fantasy that the current status quo, Obama did it, but of course you know, no, it's Obama and Bush and a lot of other people, they're doing this divergent thing. You know, we need to return back to the Reagan era, some would say. Or no, we need to return back to this era.
Construction complete.
Meanwhile, plenty of people think it's Obama, or even Bush.
Unit lost.
Like, they did this. They made the change. They ruined all this good stuff. George Bush invented war.
Unit lost.
Meanwhile,
Ready.
look up Operation Desert Fox.
Unit ready.
One example of how Clinton almost continuously bombed Iraq in his
Unit ready.
presidency. Operation Desert Fox.
Reinforcements ready.
This
Cannot deploy here.
warring is
Select
not some
target.
divergent thing that happened out of the blue. It's been ongoing.
Unit ready.
Close the foreign military bases. That's the only way true change is possible. It's a very careless statement. You can have true change and still have foreign military bases. These things just build, and all of a sudden you'll have just a pile of silly statements. So you should really analyze each statement you make. Close the foreign military bases. That's the only way true change is possible. Spoken like a true politician. And watch. We need to close those military bases. It's the only way true change is possible. Now watch this. We need to keep those military bases open. It is the only way
As
that true change
unbelievable
is
as it may
possible.
seem, I'm out of money.
If you're just going to say vague, empty things, that someone could just say the opposite, and you go like, oh, that person was more persuasive. They said almost the exact same thing, just flipped.
Building.
Your talking points shouldn't be that easy to flip. Someone shouldn't be able to just say not and say it with more feeling, and then people go, oh, I'm going to go with the not guy. It should be so reasoned that I can't just say, nuh-uh. And people go, wow, good point. It's not enough to say, close the foreign military bases, or insert cause here. That is the only way to get result. It's very careless. And then churlishly, this is another thing. Politicians do this, and this shows a disconnect philosophically, that you're just saying stuff. You say, well, Ron Paul doesn't have a Nobel Peace Prize like our current president, but he also doesn't support the killing of innocent civilians abroad. Now again, with the psychotic innocent civilians abroad thing. But also consider your laugh. He doesn't support the killing. What's with giving Obama the Nobel Peace Prize? He kills civilians. You didn't do it that bad, but you laughed. Sort of. Well, no, I'm just nervous or something. That you need to compose yourself better and recognize that it's not a laughing matter. It's not enough to be churlish. It's the word that I put in my notes. Oh, Ron Paul doesn't have a Nobel Peace Prize. All the subtext there is Obama doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, so it shouldn't make a difference. and Ron Paul isn't doing the murderous, or wouldn't do the murder, and he's doing. See how I did that? Take the message more seriously, and you won't laugh through it. You won't laugh, ironically, right when you talk about Obama killing people, supporting the killing of people, innocent
Rally
people,
point established.
and knock off the I
Unit
almost said
ready.
sanity, but they almost said
Construction
knock off the insanity of referring to killing innocent people. Killing people is not innocent.
Unit ready.
So I mentioned your laugh, your loss of focus, and clarifying
Structure
again
garrison.
the innocent civilians. What that does, it puts a premium on political
Unit
talking
ready.
points to justify
Training.
characterizing that person as not an innocent civilian. That's why we have all those insane talking head shows where like they were innocent civilians. No, they weren't.
Unit ready.
All to justify the status quo, which is if they are innocent civilians, you shouldn't kill them. If they're not, well, at least we're not killing innocent civilians.
Unit ready.
It's insane.
You got an order?
Barack Obama is a disgrace to the United States, just as George Bush
I will
was,
make
just
you
like
pay
almost
for
every
that.
president, because they all supported internationalist foreign policy.
Anytime, boss.
And of course, you know what you did, that whole, I don't like Obama, but I don't like Bush either, so look at me, I'm being even. But meanwhile, you bought into that notion that they're all supporting, so many of them supported interventionist foreign policy. And let me tell you about interventionist foreign policy as a rule in our Constitution or our written law and whatnot. It's a tool for plausible deniability. Just as if I own this corporation and I send somebody off to do heinous stuff and they do it, then they get caught. And if they try to track it back to my corporation, I can say, well, it's right in our rules. We don't, that is against our policy. It's against our policy to do that. So they're not acting, they're acting some strange, we'll just cut them off, throw them under the bus.
Structure abandoned.
So this whole Barack Obama is a disgrace to the United States, George Bush was a disgrace. No, they acted perfectly in line with the insane, innocent civilians who encouraged the military heroes to go out and mindlessly murder non-innocent civilians.
Unit ready. Training.
Bring the troops home. Support a policy of peace. This is when you go into your downward spiral or upward spiral of political. I saw somebody do this. I sound just like TV. Watch this. Bring the troops home. Support a policy of peace, mutual respect, and non-intervention. That is the answer in 2012. Oh, you said that. It's terrible. Don't talk like that. That's the way politicians talk. They are part of the problem. Every politician that acts like that. That packaging is part of the problem. Because then if you don't have that packaging, people right away say, well, you know, this guy might have the better ideas, but he doesn't wear a suit. Look at me. Look at this guy's got tattoos. That
I'm there. Moving out.
prejudice is part of the problem. The prejudice of insisting or even appreciating, valuing those snappy, do this, do this, do this in 2012. That's a problem. And you shouldn't feed into it. You should just be natural. Be honest. You'll make a better politician, but you won't sound like the politician. You sound different. Barack Obama is not the answer. Supporting Obama for these wars is absolutely ridiculous. You kind of trailed there, and supporting Obama for these wars is absolutely ridiculous. You should stop before you ever spiral down into that kind of limp statement. Ridiculous is not a strong enough word. I know it's a matter of style and whatnot, but when we talk about hundreds of thousands of children being born and living with deformations from water contaminated by depleted uranium, millions dying, all of this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. No, it's something worse than ridiculous. Plan out your sentences much more carefully when you talk about tragic events such as this, or else you do the service of diminishing them. You know what? All these thousands and thousands of people dying, suffering, millions dying and suffering. This is just stupid. It's bullshit. It doesn't do it justice.
Building infiltrated. New technology acquired.
Obama will not end the wars. He has not ended the wars, only started more wars and killed more
Player defeated.
innocent
You are victorious.
people.